What's going on, everybody? LK here, and today, Testament Day 1 and Impression. So Testament is out on PC and on consoles if you have the Season Pass. If not, you guys gotta wait for a couple of days. So this is just gonna be a quick overview of Testament's moves and my thoughts on the character after playing them for a little while. So if you want the too long, didn't watch, Testament is an all-rounder type character at a base, but has a lot of room for exploration. They're more mobile than you think they'd be, but on defense, I think Testament is a little lacking. So first, we're going to look at all of Testament's normals, starting from punches. So first, this is 5p. Pretty standard 5p. It's pretty big though. This is reminiscent of Milia's 5p. And just like Milia's 5p, it does not hit crouchers, even if you put the character in block stun first. Maybe there's a big boy like Potemkin where you can get this to hit, but essentially this is not going to really be used for pressure. This is mostly like a fast anti-air or a combo filler type of move. And then we have 2p. 2p pretty standard also. This is Testament's fastest button at 5 frames. And it's pretty big. This is probably the main notable thing about it. And it's a mid. And the other thing that's pretty notable about it too is that this is -3 on block, which means it's 0 on hit. So Testament will have the Faust issue. This is pretty rare in this game of when you get a successful mash, you are 0, so the opponent can act at the same time you can, which is kind of annoying. So the good news is the 6p is juiced, so it reaches pretty far. But just keep in mind that you have to go into 6p or else you're going to have a 0 on hit 2p, which the opponent will try to fight back like right away once they learn about it. And last would be 6p. This move is pretty ridiculous so far. I need to actually compare it with other good 6ps that we know of, like Leo 6p or Ramathal 6p. But this move is really big. That hand is all like invincible hitbox. And as I mentioned, outside of using it as an anti-air and poke, you can use it after 2p to send them full screen, and you want that with Testament. So this is not a bad situation at all. So next we're going to look at Testament's kicks. So these are nothing special to say really. They're pretty fast. Both of them are the same speed, 5k and 2k. Testament does not have a 6k. So this is Testament's 5k, hitting you with doubled 7 frames like Milia's. The 2k is pretty interesting though because it reaches about just very slightly less than 5k as far as range. Where this will live, this will connect, but it's also 7 frames and both always connect. Now another thing is Testament does not have a mashy 5k nor 2k. I don't think there's a character in the game that has a mashy 2k. And when I say mashy, I mean like you can quite literally mash on the button and like repeat the button over and over. Because of the range 2, you get to attack from pretty far, and it's only at like absolute max range where the sweep won't connect. You should basically think your sweep is going to connect all the time on 5k and all the time on 2k. There's only like a one spot where 5k won't work. So next we're going to talk about Testament slash buttons. These are good all-around buttons that always convert. This is a really big thing for me. They always convert. There is a spot where far slash won't convert simply to 5k, which is the absolute max range. But besides that, you should expect Testament to reliably be able to convert into offense on block and convert into a hit, into a knockdown on hit. So far slash, this is far this is far slash. So far slash is really big, but it's on the slower side of far slashes in this game. A fast far slash in this game would be 10 frames. So faster than that is like extremely fast. This one, I believe I saw is 13. This move also, while having comparable range to like say Ramathal, is not disjointed. So I can attack from like here and trade. Now, as I mentioned before, at absolute max range, you're not going to be able to convert really into anything. Inside this range, you will be fine, and this is the only slash normal that has this thing that at max range, you can't convert it. So then you have 2S, so 2S is faster than far slash at 11 frames, and this button always converts. It's 5H, is a low. This move also has a small extended hitbox here that you could hit. Testament is pretty small during this though, so most characters will not be able to hit Testament so easily. A thing about this move is, even though the scythe goes really far on the ground, Testament themselves is exposed here. So if you're fighting as a character who does have a super long reaching horizontal move like this, 2S can be kind of hard to use. But if they are a more short range character, you can definitely bully them with this move. So next we have Testament's close slash. So this move is a little bit bigger than it appears. It does hit a little bit above Testament. It's slower than normal at 8 frames. Your standard Cold Slash is 7 frames, but it is standard at -2, like basically all the others, besides a couple of rare exceptions. So this Cold Slash is similar to Milia, where you can use it to catch jumps. One thing you should note too is that this hits a little bit behind. So keep this in mind for combos and neutral. So next, I'm going to talk about heavy slash normals. These are very long range normals with strong hitboxes and screen control. So first we have 5H. This move you cannot fuck with. It's very huge, heavy counter hit. It is definitely, from my testing, a disjointed move. Now, if Testament lifts the button, they are stuck in recovery for quite a while. But if you use this move properly, you can definitely enforce your range because of the hitbox. So 2H similarly is a disjointed normal as well. It's actually a mid despite the animation. This move is pretty slow though, so in my opinion, I think it's mostly going to be used as a punish for like reversals. There might be some specific strings where the 2H will be auto time to catch counter hits or mashing or jumping or stuff like that as time goes on. But right now, I think it's just a little too slow to use as a poke reliably, despite the good hitbox. And then last you have 6H. So this move is quite big. Maybe Testament's biggest outright normal. This move is possible to hit. There you go. Heavy counter hit, so everything trades, of course. So this is something you can use to threaten at max range, but only when you have positional advantage, in my opinion. I think it would be pretty hard to use it in the middle of the screen where the opponent has a lot of ways it can move around the screen. And then quickly talking about Dust. So the 5D, pretty standard. I think the cool thing, honestly, is just the animation. If you're into character designs like this, you probably just think it's cool. And then sweep. So the sweep is safe. It hits pretty far. I don't think there's any disjointed sweeps in this game. Hits low. A thing of note, though, is that there's a gap between K and sweep, like characters like Milia and Chip. So keep that in mind when you're trying to plan strategies against Testament. So next, jumping normals. The jump P is a pretty standard one. You can mash on it. The jump K is pretty interesting. So this move actually hits behind. Cross up. When you use it in front of somebody, it also hits, but it's really small when it hits in front. So it's a nice flexible button that protects under and behind you, which is kind of nice. It's not huge behind, by the way. Again, you just have something that hits behind, which is not that common in this game. Usually you have to reposition yourself to deal with people running under you or getting behind you while you are in the air somehow. So it's nice to have. JS is a big horizontal air swipe. So this type of move is certainly good to have as an air versus air. So jump heavy is a jump in that hits pretty low. They definitely learned their lesson from Ramathal, so it's not disjointed, but it just does hit really, really deep. The last thing to note is JD, which the main thing to note is that it is definitely disjointed. Very, very strong air versus air. Also, Testament has unique momentum doing this, which is worth exploring. So then special moves. So Testament special moves are a crisp set of moves that work well together to set up unique neutral and offense situations. And with that, we first have to talk about Gravedigger. This is the one. This is the one. This is how the party starts. This move sets up Testament in so many ways and sets up other moves so that you can go back to Gravedigger. This is your combo tool and your pressure tool and your neutral tool all in one move. So the S version travels horizontally, both on the ground and in the air, and the H version is an anti-air on the ground and an air versus ground in the air. When you charge it, the projectile will stay active in all cases. So you leave a little mine there. The anti-air lasts for a long time. Okay, this goes like full screen, and then this goes in the ground, and it's really slow. Also, when you use the projectile, a succubus will appear, a little heart succubus will appear for a couple of seconds. It doesn't stay there for very long, so you do have to act on it right away. Now, different versions of the move will put the succubus in different spots. So that's me doing it immediately versus me doing it with a charge. Or this is the normal anti-air one. And then here's the charge anti-air one, where she appears way higher. That version is very safe. It's -4, and it puts Testament in their optimal range. Even like here, you're basically in far slash range. Now, both the S version and the H version are 16 frames, which means your attack level 4 moves will give it to you, and your attack level 3 moves will also give it to you. So close slash, 5H, 2H, 6H, and interestingly enough, sweep will give this to you. So Testament has a higher attack level sweep than most other characters. I believe it's just Ram that has one that has more blocks done like that. So that's really, really good. 2S will not give it to you. Far slash will not give it to you. And then punches will not give it to you. 6P will not give it to you. 5K will not give it to you. Also, too, the air version does alter your air momentum. So as opposed to just falling like this, you can use the air Gravedigger to float. Especially if you hold it, Testament will float for longer. This move is a critical move for Testament. You're going to be using this move all the time. When you're in neutral and you want to control space, you set it up. When you're in the air and you don't want them to approach, set it up. If you want to use your normals to control the ground, so you want to protect the air, you set it up. So next we have the Crow to talk about. So the Crow is 214P. It flies horizontally like this, unless you have a succubus on the screen, and then it'll fly towards the succubus, no matter where it is. So if I put this all the way up here, it will go all the way up there, and then return. It applies Stain State on block or hit, which is basically any normal that Testament does will have a little pop, and Testament will be generally advantageous. This includes being able to use Fast Dust to pop it and get combos. Little notes about this move. So one is that if you do it with no succubus and do it again, it kind of flies back first. And when it's on screen, you can fire it again. But when you do Gravedigger and then shoot it, it kind of teleports back to you. And you can't do it totally the same until like the third return. Just keep that in mind. Basically, the way you would think of it is if you fire it with no succubus, you can just fire it again and try to get it to connect on crouching opponents. Also, in my opinion, this is the move that you want to use to break the wall, because the Stain State carries after a wall break. So then we have Possession. This is a teleport, so you can do it in the air and on the ground. It has invincibility, but not for a long time, so don't really think of it as a reversal. This is something you can use to alter Testament's air momentum. They maintain air options after it. Has like no landing recovery, if at all. Doesn't really look like it to me. So you use this in conjunction with your Succubi. So once you use Gravedigger, you could use the move to teleport there. And when it's on the screen, you can hold the button to not go where the Succubus is, and make it so that you can attack from angles that the opponent might not be ready for. Then we have Arbiter Sign. So this is your tool for S and H. So the overhead is slower. It's 28 frames. So even though Testament animates basically the same, the EXE Beast does not hit at the same time. When you're in the corner, it just does not. It's just gone. It's off screen. But it's not a huge deal. You just have to not be totally point blank. The opponent can also jump over these. Also, they're incredibly minus on block. They're like minus 20 or something on block. So keep in mind that people can just punish you from really far. So be careful using this move. I personally feel like you're only going to be using this move in combos or with meter. So then we have this meme-ass move. This is 236P. So this is Milia Septum Voices on crack. So this move is fucking plus 63. Plus 63, and at the end of the super you get fucking Stain State, which is nonsense. Why did they give this? Give me something like this for a million, please. Okay, now this does not have invincibility, and the super startup is quite slow. But another thing about this is if you break the wall with this move, it's like the Crow. So it applies a Stain State and it maintains post wall break, meaning you can attack immediately after this wall break and mix them up and continue your offense and have all the benefits of positive and have them near the corner also. Very strong in my opinion. Very good at what it does. So then we have this move. This is the 236K, Calamity 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to call it. Pretty standard invul move. The only thing to be careful of is that the move is not particularly fast. It's pretty easy to bait this move, so just be careful and make sure you have a plan of when to use it. Even though it looks like Ram's motorboat, it's nowhere near as fast. So overall, character is decently fast with very flexible movement options, especially once you have Gravedigger, Succubus in play. Defense feels average-ish, mainly because your fast button converts it to 6P. Offense feels very strong with a lot of potential because of Gravedigger, plus combinations with using the Crow, using Possession. I'm really looking forward to seeing what people develop with this character, especially when you have Resource. The fact that you could break the wall with Stain State, whether or not you have meter, makes it so that you can continue your turn. And Stain State lasts a really long time. The Succubi only lasts for 3 seconds, but this one feels like 6 or 7 seconds. And you have to remember, basically anything that Testament does, and some special moves too, will pop the Stain State, making you advantageous or at least not punishable. So overall, looks pretty interesting. I'm going to be trying them out for the next week or so. I played a little bit of matches this morning, played training mode, look at people's Twitter to see what was up. And honestly, I'm pretty interested in the character as a serious tournament pick. So we'll see how that goes. As usual, if you guys have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you guys feel like it. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.